4 hours, 250 minutes, 15,000 seconds. This is about how much time we spend alone each day. 5 hours, give or take. For some of us, those 5 hours can be the hardest part of the day. For some of us, those 5 hours can be the most important part of the day. It's believed inside, at the core of every person, there is the self, the unseeable concept of what it means to be here, the soul, the mind, the self. Plato said the self is an immortal soul that transcends the physical being. David Hume explains the self is nothing more than a bundle of perceptions and brain activity that change over time. The self has even been dismissed as merely a center of negative gravity. Daniel Dennett. Some of those dead white dudes were definitely onto something. There's no way to talk about finding yourself without sounding like I just spent 2 years living in the mountains growing out my beard. But the formulation of the self, figuring out who you are, is probably going to be one of the most worthwhile things that you ever do. How are you supposed to know anything about the world if you don't know shit about yourself? What are you doing to make sure that you actually understand it? I didn't have much of a choice growing up. Most of us don't. Between school, parents, elders, media, I was told who I was. Watched my siblings get told who they were. Growing up, when people called you shy or super smart, did you really feel that way? Did anybody ever ask you? Or did that label just stick? A lot of us spend years seeking validation and approval, running around with our heads cut off simply because we were put in this weird-ass position so early on. This is our formal introduction to our identity. Not having one, but chasing one. Trying to squeeze into a box that might not have ever been for us. Eventually, we have to make a decision. Keep what we were given, or travel deep within and embrace unknown parts of ourselves and figure out who we are. And it's damn near impossible to do either of these things as a teen. 16 years is not enough time to figure out who you are, and your 20s are literally for figuring out what the fuck is wrong with you. Developing as a human takes time. It requires input from multiple sources. I'm talking friends, relationships, trauma, success, failure, most of which you don't encounter until adulthood. It's really easy to get lost. You don't need to disappear. You don't need to go on a long journey. You can start this process today on your own. And I think you should. We move too fast. Every time we experience something, good or bad, we're so quick to move on, so quick to bury our emotions, distract ourselves, fill in the gaps in our lives with everything but us. We need some introspection, awareness, curiosity. We need to stare into the abyss, or whatever the fuck Batman said. Because we, you and me, cannot go through our whole life lacking critical information about ourselves. That's nuts. And that was me. Until I got curious. Till I started asking questions to me about me. Because every time I was alone, when I wanted to distract myself, that was actually an opportunity to learn something about me. Once I started filling in the gap, writing my own story, the world made a little more sense. So I asked, when's the last time you spent time with yourself on purpose? With the goal of learning something, not an errand, an activity. I hated school, but in undergrad, I started going to the movies by myself a lot because my schedule didn't line up with anybody else's. I was taking like 16 credits. I regret it fully. Don't be like me. I was spazzing the fuck out. But I learned that going to the movies with or without someone is something I really enjoyed. I haven't stopped since. There was one time after class, somebody flaked on me, so I was like, all right, whatever. I went to go see an alien movie. It wasn't Prometheus. I don't remember which one it was. But I remember coming out of that theater 1 a.m. on a Wednesday. Everything was silent. I felt alone. Not lonely, but just by myself. So I asked myself,
why are you going to the movies on a school night by yourself?
it was comforting. I felt free. And I really liked that more than going out and partying.
Even though your friends weren't there, weren't you embarrassed?
A little bit. But when the lights dimmed, it wasn't that bad. I've done way more embarrassing shit in my life, and I really like movies. But my blueprint isn't yours. You don't need money to do this. You just need time. Time to question yourself more and more. No judging, no second guessing, just observing. Maybe your preferences are shaped by something deeper. Maybe your taste in men is generational. Maybe your anger is your own fault. Maybe you actually hate going to the club at 2 a.m. These tiny observations turn into full-blown exploration. These explorations become habit. You'll start crafting and building that relationship with yourself. You learn what you're lacking, what your needs are, and how to communicate them. You learn how to tell the difference between your strengths and your weaknesses, how to set boundaries, not just to keep bad things out, but to keep good things in. You'll see patterns, where your insecurities come from, why you make so many comparisons, but you can't do any of that if you don't know what makes you, you. You're not that bad. But it's hard to see your own value if you're not used to handling that currency. I'm working on this too. I just went to see Minecraft by myself. Was it great? No. But I'm also not 12. So I just shut up and ate my greasy ass popcorn because the point is to do things with me, for me. But even then, sometimes I fall short. I know, but I'm human. Sometimes I stay in bed when I should be getting up. Sometimes I skip the values that I set for myself. Oh well. No one said this was easy. You might have to prioritize, decenter, and sacrifice. Unlearning is harder than learning. But for now, we start small. Direction, not perfection. You don't need to be perfect. You've got options. You'll realize that you and yourself are on the same team. That is the beginning of everything. So when shit does go bad, because it will, you've got a strong bond to help hold you up. And if you've never had a positive, supportive relationship, if no one's ever been curious about you, please do it for yourself, at least right now. There's a world where you start to understand yourself.